Okay, so now I'm flying the Mach 2 F-106 Delta Dart.
Might I say at this point, because it's sitting right here, the world's fastest single-engine jet aircraft.
Yes.
According to the book, anyway.
Okay, well, we had two heat-seeking Hughes missiles and two radar missiles, and then if you turn that around, we had one nuclear rocket, which was 1.5 kilotons, and it would go out. It would go out 13 seconds, 9 miles in 13 seconds, and then blow up the formation of enemy bombers. And so you shoot this thing. And I've fired two of them, and it looked just like that. It's like a religious experience. I mean, holy crap! One of the guys, the thing blew up right in front of him as it passed under the torpedo boom. We were down at Tyndall, and it exploded. It was an 832-pound rocket, had 36,000 pounds of thrust. And I mean, it would go Mach 3.3 and then blow up. But it was just a little practice nuke, you know. It was the one
800 pounds and 36,000 pounds of thrust. That's pretty good power to weight.
Well, look at there. There it is. It says the picture right there. So the thing blows up, and he came, and we've been shooting at a Mach 2 F-104 drone out over the Gulf of Mexico, 60,000 feet Mach 2. And we're doing head-on passes and shooting the bean. We called it shooting the bean at it. He comes back, declared an emergency. He says, "Hey, I've lost my airspeed indicator. I lost my airspeed." And he said, "Yeah, roger that. IFE, in-flight emergency." Okay, so he came back and landed. I don't think we thought that was a big deal because he landed, and you know, you can feel when the airplane's going to stall. It's angle of attack. We still had angle of attack indicator. And he landed and taxied in. Holy shit. There's nothing left of the front of his airplane. Everything's gone. The radome, the radar, all the gubbins, all the bits and pieces. He said, "Why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us that the front end of the airplane was blown off?" He said, "How could I tell?" He said, "I couldn't see it. No, it's up there." So anyway, there's always something like that can keep you entertained. Okay, so now I'm the second lieutenant. Oh no, this is first lieutenant, so I was promoted. We were the only squadron that did this. They took a flying suit and cut it off and turned it into a jacket.
Oh.
And so this is extremely rare. But that's our squadron, the Duck. And it was...
show the logo.
It was...
Can you show the badge?
It was our motto. The 438th Fighter Interceptor Squadron. Kincheloe Air Force Base, Michigan. I flew 4 years there, got about 750 hours. Okay, so Cuban Missile Crisis. It's October the 22nd, 1962. And I was the squadron intelligence officer. I was SNACO, I was intelligence officer, I was public relations officer, and which was important because we could fly supersonic over land, and the B-58 Hustlers, 4-engine Hustlers from Bunker Hill Air Force Base would fly right over us, the Upper Peninsula, the Upper U.S., we called it, Upper U.S., in northern Michigan, and that was their bomb scoring, their RBS side. And they would come through many times a day, bringing a supersonic wave right across it. You know, airplane going supersonic has a bow wave and a tail wave. So that's why, if you remember back, those of you who are old enough, you weren't even born yet, Tommy, but you hear a boom, boom, like that. Or it could be boom, boom, if you were flying just barely supersonic. But these guys would come smoking by, and the local people were really upset. So I had to go out and sort that out, tell them what was going on. No, they weren't having it. All they wanted was money. But they wanted money to replace their broken windows. Oh, it was awful.
Let's keep rolling through the 106.
So here we go.
Cuban Missile Crisis, she said.
The intelligence is building up, and we could see it. So we loaded up all the airplanes. They got them out of maintenance, out of phase, annual inspection, and get them everything back in commission. And we've been flying with hot missiles for about 2 weeks. And no nukes, not yet. Okay. Now, it's 2 weeks before, it's early October, or the first week in October of 62, and we continued to train with live missiles. Everybody's loaded up with live missiles. We normally didn't do that except when we were on alert and we got bored and we'd bump two of us off and we'd do practice head-on intercepts. So we were quite used to that. But not the big nuke. Okay, so now, boom, 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 we can see the sharks coming. And I had a top secret clearance. And Per, your grandfather, Kenneth Holloway, was the ops officer and then squadron commander by this time, and ultimately the wing commander of that big wing, 449th Bomb Wing. They had B-52Hs, 15 of them, crowd killers. Oh man, those guys had, yikes, they had big bombs. They had 10 megaton bombs. Each airplane carried 2 of them. They were huge, size of a Volkswagen. Holy crap. It was scary watching them do the elephant walk during their mass load. You know, they have 10 of them in trailers and pull them out there right in front of my office and in base operations there. Oh my God. Okay. I mean, you know, this could be dangerous. If one of those things went off, it could ruin your whole day.
So when you were training with the missiles, were you now starting to train with the nukes?
No. You don't train with the nuke. No.
You train with everything else, and you'd only bolt that on if necessary.
I'm flying a single-seat interceptor, and I'm a second lieutenant. Okay? In order to launch a nuke, you have the two-man concept. 2 people have to push the button at the same time, or turn 2 keys, or flip 2 switches. I mean, you know, in the submarines, in the ballistic missile, intercontinental ballistic missile, or in airplanes, bombers or fighters. Most of the fighters were dual cockpit, had a pilot in front and a navigator in the back. Well, I'm flying a single-seat fighter. We did have 2 dual-seaters, but those 2 flew, but nobody in the back seat. We didn't have enough pilots. Okay, so now, dun, 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 the sharks are coming, Jaws. So we loaded the nukes about a week ahead of October 22nd. And Kennedy's getting ramped up, and we could see the tactical guys are moving down into Florida, getting ready to attack Cuba. We knew, I could see top secret intelligence. Per got me into their vault, the CIA vault, where I could get down in there, and they just gave me full access until the last few days, and they blocked me. They blocked me from getting access. And I went to the wing commander. I said, "What the hell? I'm not getting top secret anymore." No. You don't have a need to know. What? No, this is special intelligence. No, Colonel, come on. I didn't my trouble with full colonels anyway. But I said, "Colonel, come on. I'm the intelligence officer. I know what's coming." And I really leaned on Lieutenant Dwelle. Really, there's nothing new. It's all the same that you've been looking at for 2 months, or a month certainly. But now we're loading nukes on every airplane. And oh my God. Well, I wish I had a red streamer here because now we're on alert. and we're loaded up, and I'm in the alert barn. Don Tharp and I'm first to go. Don and I and my flight commander and one other, we're on alert out at the end of the runway. You know, the 4 big clamshell hangars. Doors are open, and we're ready to go. We're upstairs, and we had big chairs and TV, and I was building, Heathkit, fuzzbusters, and amplifiers, etc. And when the horn goes off, that klaxon is just terrible. I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times, but there's no sound like that. It goes brrrr, like that. Oh my God. And so our standard was from a sound sleep. We slept in our harness. On Hot 5, that means airborne wheels to the well within 5 minutes after the horn goes off, the klaxon. Now we can do it, easy. You run to the hole, and there's a fireman's pole, and you slide down to where the crew chiefs are. 4 pilots upstairs, 4 crew chiefs downstairs, waiting for us. Okay, so this is no drill. This was what's called a flush. And what we would do is get out of the way, because we had 15 B-52Hs, that was Pear's Curly Holloway's group, and then we had 15 KC-135s, and we had 24 F-106s, air defense interceptors. And right north of us was RACO. It was a Nike Hercules, a Nike Ajax air defense missile system. And they were supposed to go out 150, 200 miles and take the bombers out as they came across the North Pole and then across the Hudson Bay and headed for Detroit, Michigan. That's what we were up right north of Detroit, Michigan. So that was our charge, was to knock them all down and get them out of the air. Well, the klaxon goes off, and I'm a second lieutenant. Don Tharp, my buddy, was captain. Said, "Oh shit!" Boom, down we went. Boom, down to the bottom, and I looked at Don, and I said, "What about the bean?" Meanwhile, the crew chiefs are firing up the power units and bringing power on to all 4 airplanes, and we're all 4 nuke loaded. Everybody, all 24 airplanes, and the intent was to get us to clear the base within 15 minutes, because at that point, because the ballistic missile early warning system, radars and backscatter, we had 15 minutes of warning. So the intent was to get out of the target area, because that was a juicy target with all those bombers and the air defense missile site, and then they could clear that out and have a free run into Detroit. Oh yeah? Not on my watch. So I looked at Don, I said, "What about the bean?" This was the Genie AIR-2A nuclear rocket. A rocket is not guided. Okay, missiles have guidance. That's the difference. Okay, so now Don says, I said, "What about the bean?" Don Tharp says, and he was the squadron weapons officer, he said, "Tom, I think we're going to war. Pull the pin." So roger that. So I went under the airplane, pulled a long pin out of the bottom of this weapon, had a big red flag on it, and pulled that out and went back, closed the missile bay door. That's my weapon. I stuck the thing in my pocket. Okay, this pocket right here. I stuck it in there with this remove before flight hanging out. The pin fit in there, but the flag hung down, and boom. Okay, I jump in the cockpit. Crew chief we slept in our harness. And so he's hooking up the cape well releaser for the parachute, and I'm hooking up the strap which secures my dinghy, my life raft, and my survival kit. And now he's already put power to the airplane, and the instruments and the radar starting to warm up. And as he's doing that, I go outboard to start, and it goes up, and I'm watching the temperature, and he's hanging over me, strapping me in, and the big intake was right here behind him. He's up on the ladder, so just before he gets sucked in into the intake, he jumps off the ladder, secures it, and goes back and hangs onto the power cord, the auxiliary power unit, APU cord that powers up the airplane. Okay, as soon as we're going and the generator comes online, I give him the pull the power. He pulls the cord out and stands clear, pulls the chocks out, and I'm ready to go. I said, holy shit, now I got a live nuclear weapon. Okay, I wish I had a stick to show you, but there are two ways to shoot that weapon. To shoot missiles, easy. You had a little wire, a little thin copper wire, and a seal, the armor seal, so that if that seal breaks, then, they know who did it, or they know that it might have been compromised, okay? And you can shoot missiles with that. To do weapons down here, you can select the kind of missile you want, or all the way you move the little guard, you had to break that seal and put it over to special weapon, okay? And now it's hot, fully armed. And it was fully armed anyway. I could have had my 15 minutes of fame, but, strangely enough, and Kay, I know you're watching this at some point, but we were spring-loaded go. I didn't think about Kay, I didn't think about Christine. She was, 2, maybe 3. And I didn't think about the dog or the house or my car or anything. Boy, we knew what we had to do. So we launched out, checked in with the Sage, the semi-automatic, the fighter controllers, and they were totally unready for us. Caught everybody by surprise. They said, implement your divert policy. Go direct to a Phelps Collins Air National Guard base just north of Detroit. It was a guard base. There's nobody there. And so I'm first one off. I beat everybody. I always did. And I got down there, and the weather was terrible. The wind was 25 knots directly across the runway, and that's max for the airplane. And it was exciting. I'd never done that. We just didn't do that. It was going to be exciting, but I found it. I had a way to do that. It's easy. Had radar. In between my legs, I had a big, like a scope, called a tactical situation display. And I'm here, and Phelps Collins is there, and so I can follow the bug and go down there. No clearances or nothing, and I was first one on the ground, and wind from the left, I'll never forget. And I used up a set of tires landing, and I'm first one off. Oh crap! So I turned right around in the D-arm area. I got clear and jettisoned the drag chute, which I had to do. I had to get it clear because we ended up having to pack my own drag chute with a broom handle so we could go again, refuel the airplane and stuff that thing. And we had to practice that. That's one of the things that we did. Stuff it all back in there with a broom handle and close up the thing. It was between the speed brakes, which were in the back of the vertical stabilizer. Came right out. You pull the drag chute, and if you hadn't already opened the speed brakes, it would open it and boom, out it came. Okay, so I turn right around. Now I'm acting as a control tower. And here comes somebody without any radar. So I'm looking back up the runway in the de-arm area. There's nobody there to de-arm. I've got hot missiles and a hot nuclear weapon, and there's nobody there. But I've got my 6-shooter, my K-38 Combat Masterpiece, and I'm tough, man. So, and he's floundering around out there, but we had IFF. I could interrogate our own IFF. So I directed him in, and then acted as really a control tower. Roger, you're cleared in, and I'm a second lieutenant. I should know how to do this shit. Okay, and got everybody down, and then I'm back on the ground because I could see them. You know, there's a string of guys all coming in. Whoa, you're loosening it up, guys. You're way too. The wind is max left cross, and it's really exciting. And God bless. Everybody got down, and we taxied back in. And meanwhile, my crew chief is back there holding on to this cord, thinking, Whiskey Tango Fox, what the hell just happened? Nobody's left on the base other than our wives and the wing commander, Colonel Hornsby, and
the crew chiefs.
And the crew
got
chiefs.
You launched and
well, now they're
get
running.
blown up.
Now they're running for vehicles, and you know, let's see, we had our. No, hell no. We didn't have pins to put in the landing gear or anything. So they had to police all that stuff up and bring it to us. I had my pin.
Yeah.
So I opened up the missile bay doors, crawled under there and put it back in. I did it, so I don't remember having to search for it, but I didn't have much experience in either pulling that out or putting it in. But now it's safe, and my 2 switches in the cockpit are safe. They've not been messed with, so I know I can't be charged with anything nefarious. Okay, we were there 2 weeks. Another squadron came in of F-101s. Now that airplane had 2 nuclear rockets on it and 2 guys in the cockpit, so you know they could do the dual security thing. But my crew chief was my number 2 guy. So as soon as I taxied out, as soon as he pulled the plug, then it's my airplane, it's my weapon, and I'm a second lieutenant. Holy shit.